Hello and welcome to Solihull Moors TV live in association with Primrose's Kitchen. We are live here at the SportNation.bet Stadium for coverage of Solihull Moors versus Hartlepool United in the National League. Of course, the Moors, this is their first league game for some 20 days, going back to that 2-0 win at Altrincham. But of course, in a more relevant manner, it is of course the first game for the Moors since the 4-2 defeat after extra time on Saturday in the FA Cup second round at Morecambe. The Moors fought valiantly, as I'm sure you will have seen in the pre-game build-up going into that one, as the music comes to a stop and things really do still feel so eerie with football stadiums around the country, at least around the entire country. For the remainder of this week, there will be crowds beginning to attend games in certain areas of the country. I'm sure that we could have a discussion about that all night if we really wanted to, but we will lose that and we will focus on what matters, and that is the football. And it's a great privilege to be here on your behalf to bring you this game. We'll go through the starting lineups very quickly. Ryan Boot in goal for the Moors. Tyrone Williams, Christian Pearce and Alex Goodger are going to be the three centre-backs. Goodger making his return from a relatively long-term injury. And it's Cameron Cox just right in front of us to the right-hand side of the defence, the right wing-back. And then Jordan Cranston is the man opposite him. As the game gets underway with Carl Storer, Stephen Gleeson is alongside him in the central midfield. Jamie Osborne and James Paul, the two attacking midfielders, with Cameron Archer, the lone striker, after his impressive move in setting up what was the equaliser for the Moors in the second half of the Morecambe game. The substitutions for the Moors include Niall Clayton, goalkeeper. Mitch Hancock, we believe, if he's involved today, he'll be a centre-back. Callum Maycock is a midfielder. There's a bit of trouble there for Christian Pearce, and Ryan Boot does eventually get the ball cleared and does a good job actually. Again, it's Cameron Cox who's just caught there by the Hartlepool debutant Joe Bunny. Other substitutions for the Moors we were just mentioning: Callum Maycock, Jamie Ward and Kyle Hudlin, who of course got his first Moors goal, as Osborne looks to go to the right hand side on that particular move, and just going a bit too narrow for Cameron Cox's liking. I believe it may have been intended to be a through ball for Cameron Archer. It was kind of difficult to tell what with the end result exactly what Osborne had intended on that one. As the long ball comes the way now of Bloomfield, and Cox manages to get it back to Ryan Boot. The Hartlepool lineup: Henrik Ravas is the goalkeeper. Lewis Cass is at right back, with Joe Bunny opposite him. We've already mentioned him, he was just on that challenge on Cox. The centre-backs are Timmy Odesina and Tyler Maglaw. Then the midfielders, it's a five-man midfield. It's Bloomfield. It's actually just got behind here, but the ricochet off of Williams prevents him from getting a ball across the goal mouth. And there was a Hartlepool man going forward there, and that appeared to be Luke Molyneux. Indeed it was, but Boot manages to collect it safely, and I think he wants to play short. The Moors do want to be able to play from the back as much as they can. That's been the philosophy under Jimmy Shan. Just going through that Hartlepool midfielder, it is Crawford alongside Featherstone. We expect those two to sit in front of the defence, and then the more attacking midfield trio is Gavin Holohan, who is towards the left of that trio at the moment, but we've seen him in the middle at times. Ryan Donaldson will presumably be towards left, although he's actually lined up more towards the right here. And then Luke Molyneux will be on the right-hand side, with Bloomfield the lone striker. The substitutes for Hartlepool include Ryan Johnson, Mark Shelton, Claudio Afosu, Joe Gray and David Parkhouse. The two striking options on the bench for the visitors, as the Moors try and move the ball down the left-hand side. A long ball intended for Archer is cleared. You can see actually that it does look as if Hartlepool are playing free at the back tonight, so they're basically matching the Moors in terms of formation. So it is a slight change of shape for the visitors tonight. That presumably made possible by the presence of Bunny, as Osborne wins the ball in a dangerous area and has a bit of a tussle there with two Hartlepool players. Odesina was one of them. I couldn't quite tell who gave up the free kick though. It may well have been Holohan with the jersey back to us, and just about make out the number 14 there. This isn't really in shooting range, So presumably, well, in fact, it's a fair way back. The referee has brought the play back considerably. So this will be Gleeson just to try and tease one into the box. Gudger is forward. Pearce joins him, but the free kick is taken short to Williams. And now Williams will look for a cross going the other way. And going up to it is James Ball, but can't quite get to it. Osborne steals it from Molyneux, and now Cranston playing back to Osborne. Gleeson is available short if he wants to go that way. Osborne running into a bit of trouble there, however, going up against that appeared to be Crawford. Now the ball is back with Tyrone Williams. Long ball searching for Cameron Cox is intercepted by Bunny. And now back with Ravas, who clears long down the left. Williams reacts to it well, but I will go straight back to wherever the goalkeeper wants it to, whether or not he wants to take it or have a goal kick. He chooses goal kick. So as mentioned, this is the first league game for the Moors in 20 days since that 2-0 win at Old Tringham. The 3 previous games, Halifax, Weymouth and Torquay. Archer almost able to get away on the right-hand side there. The Halifax, Torquay and Weymouth games postponed as a result of what we were made aware of at the time was a member of the first team testing positive for COVID-19. Of course, we know since then that Jimmy Shan also tested positive, and a couple other players too. Cameron Archer was forced to self-isolate, but don't believe he was diagnosed. As Donaldson just about getting away on the right-hand side, but Gudger is able to intervene. Now James Ball just trying to get out of a difficult spot here, and Gudger finds a good through ball towards Archer, and we know that Archer, despite his relative lack of size by National League striking standards, he's not a huge player, but he holds the ball up like he is one, that is for sure. And as we saw on Saturday, he has the skill to complement that as well. Odesina just coming under pressure from Osborne. The ball ends up back with Ravas. The Moors have plenty of players in that space where the ball was guided into. Osborne is going to try and get around Odesina, but he commits a foul in doing so. Worth noting from Moore's perspective as well that this is the first home league game, incredibly, in 45 days. To go back to the Boreham Wood game for that. Ravas just looking to get this free kick set up from the left-hand side. A stat for both sector supporters to note tonight is, of course, that all 6 of the National League fixtures between these two sides have been won 1-0 by the away team. So that bodes very well for Hartlepool. It is worth noting that the visitors have only scored in one of their last 5 games, or 5.5 if you count the washout at Eastleigh that was called off at half-time. High ball is easily intercepted by Gudger, and now the Moors will look to set up a counter, but there's good pressure against Cameron Cox on the right-hand side, but he does get away from Bunny there, wants a free kick, doesn't get one, and then runs into Odesina. Jamie Osborne leading the protest there in quite a violent manner. Hope you didn't pick up too much of that on our microphone. I think if there was any criticism of the referee on Saturday in that FA Cup game, was that maybe that referee let a bit too much go. Usually in the National League we don't see that, but there's been a couple of things let go so far. Williams does manage to get a header down off of that free kick. Now Archer in a foot race with Maglaw, who gets it back to Ravas. Long clearance is won by Williams, but Archer was in an offside position, chose not to contest it. Now Gudger looking for the header to the right-hand side. Storer was the only man there, so it was a good job he won it. Williams now has help from Cox. Cox fancies his pace tonight, but Hartlepool seems to be matching him for pace so far. That really the first race down that right flank that Cox won, getting tripped by Holohan, and the free kick was given. Holohan got a piece of the ball, but referee saying that he got man first. And the free kick from Osborne is, well, it was sliced, and it was presumably looking for several runners. I don't think anybody really expected that. And Ravas knew it was going wide, saw it out happily. Holohan gets a flick on, but there's nobody in an advanced position down the left-hand side. Bunny was the man closest to it. I think it might have been looking for Bloomfield just to peel off to that side. Boot will clear short as the Moors will once again look to play from the back. Look at the long ball towards Archer. He doesn't quite get a flick on, but Osborne will try and pressure Adesina and nearly wins the ball, but the through ball does come the way of Bloomfield. Crawford with good play there, seeing the ball away from James Ball, and that could set up Hartlepool well down this right-hand side. Ball inside from Donaldson to Bloomfield. Back the way of Crawford once again. Hartlepool do tend to be, certainly in the games that I have called with the Moors playing against them, Hartlepool have always tended to be a fairly patient side. Possession, 9/10 of the law, and that is usually what Jimmy Shan likes to play as well, as Cox does a really good job of getting away from Buddy on the right-hand side, and he's got ball furthest forward in support, if you can find him, and he goes all the way into the box and then fires across goal. More of a cross. Oh, Ball can react to it, and then is he tripped? Jordan Cranston is screaming for a penalty there, but the appeal's turned away. Good first touch there from Bloomfield, taking it high and avoiding handling the ball there. And now there could be a counter on as the Moors wanted a penalty, and now they face an opportunity against them as Molyneux gets around good, just slots inside, but Pearce gets it away. Good intervention there from Christian Pearce, and a good through ball there towards Archer. We'll hold up the ball once again. Osborne was making a run, but Archer had no chance of finding him. That's great hold-up play from Cameron Archer. That's exactly what we talk about when we say that Archer doesn't look like the archetypal big, strong National League forward, but he definitely has that about him. If anything, it's probably his main trait. It's what we see him do best, but it's the fact that he can also produce the kind of skill that set up Cranston's equaliser on Saturday that just helps you really appreciate what he is and how such a complete player he already looks to be. So young he is on loan from Aston Villa, of course. Cox anticipating well where that ball was going to go and holds it up well against Bunny, but there's a bit of a challenge there that does not result in any whistle being blown. Now the ball is once again back with Ravas, and Ravas will go towards Bunny on the left-hand side. Certainly ball control seems to be a good strength for these Hartlepool players. They're taking the balls high on their chests and constantly managing to get those second touches to exactly where they would want them, right at their feet, and exactly where the Moors players can't win the ball off them. Moors found themselves in a bit of a tight spot just a moment ago, but happy to take what was given to them, that of course being the throw-in. And here they go playing out from the back once again, as Williams will look to play a long ball and then takes on Holohan, waits for Holohan to commit himself. Now Storer getting the ball away, Osborne with a flick on. But it will go right back to Ravas, courtesy of Crawford. Once again, the long ball comes down the left. It's always going to come down the left. And I think Tyro Williams is now beginning to become aware of that. Osborne gets around Adesina, or gets through him rather, but not able to find another yellow shirt. Worth noting, of course, those of you listening to our radio feed, Hartlepool in blue with white shorts, the Moors in yellow with blue shorts. Good piece of play there, just allowing Cranston to find a little bit of space initially, but he loses it to Crawford. One of the summer signings, well, say summer, it's a very long summer, of course, from Notts County, and a play being brought back there. Ball going out for a throw, as a matter of fact, is why the play was brought back there. Oh, now a dangerous ball from our angle there. Looked like one that Bloomfield could have raced onto. Hard to tell just with the, from our perspective, exactly how close that was, but now Osborne looking to bring the ball away from Crawford, gets tripped and gets the free kick. I don't think either side wanted that free kick. Bench are incensed by it over on the Hartlepool dugout, and Osborne certainly didn't exactly have the most pleasant of things to say to the referee. Didn't look too much on for Jamie Osborne there, but I think the perspective of the Moors' best creative player should definitely be chosen over those of a watching guy up in the gantry here. Looks as if the Moors are going to take the opportunity to just float one into the area once again. Of course, they went short from a similar position early on, but there's no sign of that here. Once again, Pierce, Williams, Goodger all forward. Osborne and Ball just joining that move, and it goes into Ward's ball, who goes over him and goes just beyond Goodger as well. So some danger there, but fortunately from a Hartlepool perspective, no contact on the ball going towards their goal. Of course, whether or not Hartlepool fans will be will have anything to take pride in at the end of the 90 minutes remains to be seen. But one thing they can take pride in at the moment is that they were actually the last team to score here at Damson Park. The late winner for Aidan Keener back in March, right before the first lockdown. It's the first goal that, the last goal that any away team has scored here. Bunny at the moment just trying to attack the left-hand side, and does he win the throw-in? Yes, he does. As Hartlepool bid not only to become the last team to score here, but the next as well. Crawford at the moment taking it from the left-hand side. Back the way of Odesina. An attempted long ball there by Cass along through ball, presumably looking for a Molyneux down that wing. Not to be found, but I think the patient approach of Hartlepool, there is the prospect that that could play into Jimmy Shan's hands, because even though we know him traditionally as a possession-based manager, we have seen a few games this season. You think the Boreham Wood game, it was very much enforced on the Moors to let Boreham Wood have possession. They were down to 10 men so early on in that game. But if you look at the two Wrexham games, the Moors were very comfortable to control the game without the ball. It sounds like such an alien concept, but the Moors have executed it perfectly in the early home games this season. And certainly the way Hartlepool play, it would lend itself to that type of performance being the one that could give the Moors 3 points here, as Osborne found himself in a good position initially, but then committing himself to the challenge was Maglaw, and eventually Featherstone helps it clear, and now Holohan was looking for someone in space down the left-hand side, but Bunny hadn't committed himself to the run. And now they try and make space for themselves down the right-hand side, but it's brought back into the defence now. Looks to be Cass trying to line up a long ball, but Cox intercepts. And it feels a little bit stalemate so far, as we're around 15 minutes into this one. We unfortunately don't have a game clock available to us, but Cranston looking for a ball in. Oh, and it could arrive with Archer if he's reacted to it well, and just taken away by an important intervention there. Oh, blocked by Osborne, and he could be in, and oh, that's a fantastic reaction saved there from Ravas. And Osborne really did everything that you could have wished for him to do, because it was in a fairly awkward position for him to strike going low to his left. He almost had to kind of bend his body downwards just to reach it. And then Ravas doing likewise. And well, that's just great improvisation from both teams there, both Osborne and the goalkeeper, as the Moors are denied. And I was just about to say that it could well be a mistake that gets a goal here as the ball comes into the goal mouth and is punched by Ravas. Williams, the man closest to it for the Moors. Hartlepool just about get it half clear, but there could be a ball coming back their way as Cox looks to float one down towards left. Osborne in position to attack, and he can't quite get there against Donaldson there. And that is always going to be a free kick for the defence there. The Moors making the first real impression on this game with that opportunity for Jamie Osborne. Initially coming from a mistake, and then Osborne able to win it back. Osborne actually, there was a similar goal for the Moors in the Kings Lynn game where Osborne won the ball just on the edge of the penalty area. That, of course, just now in a much more advanced position as Gleeson is tripped there, and that'll result in a booking, which kind of understand that from the Hartlepool player's perspective there. Certainly no intention in the challenge, but I think the booking is nonetheless the right decision. It's Holohan, the man who went in the book. Storer will line up the free kick from right on the halfway line. As I was saying, yeah, Osborne, is that Goodger making a surging run down the left? It was indeed. Goodger has at times in the past season or so fancied himself as a full-time left-back, and he gets those kinds of opportunities if he wants to in the link-up play there with Jordan Cranston. Certainly it was a much more natural role for Mitch Hancock, who was absolutely fantastic in the games that he played in that position while Alex Goodger was out. There is Goodger winning the header, high ball coming over the top. Cranston should be able to head this back to boot, and does. Archer not quite able to get the flick on. Storer just wins it there and stays on his feet, but gets the free kick anyway. So I think we know what's happening with this referee. He's seemingly decided that he will stop the game at every opportunity he gets, which so far has seemingly left both sides relatively unimpressed. Pearce looking for the long ball. Osborne does get a flick onto the right, but it will be cleared by Bunny. Gleeson getting in front there of Bloomfield, and looking for some sort of space to play into. This will presumably go back. I thought it would go back the way of boot, but it went to Pearce instead. Osborne with a layoff towards Archer, but Odesina gets in the way, and now, Jamie Osborne, is he in trouble here? The ball was there to be won, but we saw a similar challenge in a game here 2 years ago from Kyle Storer, where it was raining that day and Storer saw red. This one, on first glance, didn't look quite as bad as that one. Joe Bunny just shouting towards this direction, not at us, presumably at the linesman, saying referee has already lost control of the game. That perhaps reflects what we were saying just a moment ago, with initially a few things being left and then suddenly the whistle being blown at every opportunity, to the displeasure of both sides. So the game will get underway with a free kick to Hartlepool back underway, of course. And every Moors player bar Cameron Archer behind the ball, so it does seem as if Jimmy Sham wants to play that control without the ball type of game, but this is not exactly what you call control at the moment, with Bunny's cross and Ryan Boot doing a good job of punching away from the goalmouth. James Ball will try and keep it in play, and I think he may well have gained some yards on the clearance at least, but it will be a Hartlepool throw in an advanced area here. Appears to be Donaldson on the throw. It's back the way of Cass, and his cross is blocked by Archer. Second throw is taken quickly, and Molyneux plays it off of Ball, and we'll get a third throw. Comes inside the area towards Holohan. He rather slashes at it there, but the cross is then blocked by Gleeson. Back the way of Adesina, and now this is Cass again looking for a chip ball. Williams heads it out. Storer and Featherstone a bit of a collision, but Cox races onto the loose ball, and now Osborne with a chance to go away, and Bloomfield catches him. Jamie Osborne asking how many then? That one was rather clear, but referee seems to be letting a few things go as the loose ball goes towards Adesina there, and if Bloomfield can find space, he did find a half a yard of space up against Carl Storer there, but couldn't quite get the shot away with the power he intended, and now the Moors will try and come away, but Ball under pressure from Cass, and after trying to play backwards, sees the loose ball go the way of Bloomfield, but Bloomfield I think was looking for the run coming from, I couldn't quite tell who that was, it might well have been Dodson, and now the Moors look at counter. Can Archer find Cameron Cox? Yes he can. Cranston is furthest forward, but Cox's ball just simply rolls through to Ravas there. I believe Cox may have been hoping for a runner going outside from the middle towards the right, and there was none forthcoming. Now Holohan on the left. Just about gets around Williams, but Cameron Cox gets in the way, and Ryan Boot is going to try and chase it down as well. And what is the call? Throw-in appears to be the call. Gone short from Bunny to Holohan, and Osborne trying to track him down and does a good job to win the goal kick there. Hartlepool did, of course, top the table earlier on in the season. They won their opening 3 games, but since then, it's been a bit of a rocky ride for them. They took 2 points from their next 4 games before they bounced back with the win at the Oval. All 3 of their goals in that game, interestingly, coming in the first half, and while the Moors have had a good opportunity in this game through Jamie Osborne, you'd say it's about even so far, and Hartlepool at the moment seem to be more on top. The Moors relying more on the counter, with Osborne just up against Adesina here, trying to twist and turn his way inside, but losing the ball there to the defender. Now Featherstone brings it inside to Crawford, now across towards the right hand side. Donaldson looking for Molyneux as Alex Goodger just peels away from his central back position. Now the Moors will look to press high themselves, but Adesina goes around Osborne, and now Bunny looking for a runner in space, and Bloomfield had just gotten in behind Pearce then, but Pearce was able to make the interception. Long ball going over everybody. Bloomfield does seem to be able to put himself into some interesting positions when he has players in the midfield rushing up to support him. When the Moors are trying to play out from the back, he always seems in position to force an error or two, and Featherstone just being penalised there for a trip on Kyle Storer. Hartlepool weren't too happy about it. And the Moors will not be too happy as well about the quick free kick not allowed to be taken twice now. Take 3 will be a Pierce long ball towards Cameron Cox, as he called for it several times, so it was pretty obvious where it was going. Now Osborne, good touch towards the inside, but Featherstone was there to help out Odesina. And Hartlepool try and bring the play back the other way through Cass, although he goes back to his goalkeeper initially. And now here comes the long ball. Bloomfield once again on the chest. Molyneux almost slipping there, but finding a bit of space to run into, and then runs into Gleeson. Now the ball comes back the way of Featherstone, but the Moors have everyone bar Jamie Osborne behind the ball. Cameron Archer is almost lined up as a ultra right wing back at the moment, as Gudger makes the intervention as the ball was coming towards Molyneux on the inside. Just jostling for position at the moment as Crawford gets the short throw. Moors really rather restricting the space right now, and Bloomfield in all sorts of bother as he tries to find anywhere he can go with it, and the ball rather bounces off him and out for that throw. Gudger gets a long clearance away. Osborne was looking for the flick on towards ball. No free kick being given. Osborne feeling like he was pushed in the back there. Finds the nearest official to voice his displeasure towards, and now there could be danger for Pierce as he gets the ball short from Ryan Boot, but eventually he helps it back to Gudger, and now ball once again looking for a flick on towards Osborne. It does eventually reach Osborne, but Gleeson can't control the short ball. Holohan forced backwards by Storer. Now as Osborne won the ball in a good position, he has there, and is pulled back there. That was pretty clear by Maglaw, knew exactly what he was doing on that one, taking one for the team after losing the ball. And he goes in the book. Nil-nil for those of you just joining us between the Moors and Hartlepool, and so far a relatively even game. I think you'd say that Hartlepool just at this particular moment in time just enjoying a bit more control of the game, but there's nothing that's really threatening the Moors. Been a couple of nervy moments when the Moors have tried to play out from the back, but nothing going majorly wrong. Meanwhile, the Moors have come closest to an opener through Jamie Osborne. Now ball coming the way of Williams. Could reach Gudger at the back post, and I think he really expected Bunny to get to that one and wasn't ready for the mistake and the opportunity to strike. It is cleared as far as Gleeson, who presumably will send it airborne the other way, looking for the run from Archer towards the right hand side. He's got Odesina with him, and Odesina there is forced to concede the corner. So this will bring the defenders right back forward. Presumably Cameron Cox will be one of those who stays back, although the corner has already been taken quickly, and it looks to have ricocheted off of Featherstone there, and it is a throw-in off of the corner flag, which Osborne presumably will send looping in towards the box. Now here it comes, it's towards the man nearest, and Gudger being penalised for the hold there on the new Hartlepool man, Joe Bunny.
Hey, fucking whip the ball in the box!
Yes, turn! Hey! Stand! Stand! Hold! Stay up! Hey! Hold!
Clearance from Ravas is going to go right towards Bloomfield once again. Williams rises highest, but it's actually going behind. And now Holohan, can he find a turn against Cox? He did initially and got towards the outside, and then takes him on and off the post. What a huge let-off for the Moors, as Holohan, with such great skill, managing to turn outside of Cameron Cox and then back inside as he got into the penalty area, and Cox committed himself to the challenge. Holohan beating him both times and almost getting the away side in the lead here. Free kick for the Moors went their way after Cameron Cox was tripped. There was little in it, but always going to be one of those benefits of the doubt going towards the defender setting up the counter-attack kind of calls. Storer plays low towards Osborne. Referee gets out of his way nicely, and there could be a good ball towards Cranston, and Cranston is ahead of Donaldson. The cross coming in towards Archer, but it is just about played away there by Maglaw. And now Crawford trying to make something happen. The visitors forced all the way back towards Ravas. Now the game just feels like it's beginning to liven up. That effort off the post sparking an injection of pace into the game. As now Bunny gets it on the left-hand side and gets it back off of Holohan. Attempted crosses blocked by Cameron Cox, and he will look to clear long towards Osborne, who controls it well but needs some help. He was helped there, but doesn't get the free kick against Odesina. I'd say that was more of a free kick than the one that Cameron Cox got a little earlier, but not going the Moors' way. Now Cass couldn't quite find the ball inside towards. Looks to be Holohan there. Good, she did eventually get it cleared, and now there's a free kick going the way of the visitors. So a good opportunity now going the way of both sides. First, Osborne forcing the close range save from Ravas, and now a chance here for Bunny as he simply sliced that effort across the goal mouth. I think he was looking to just fire that one into the top corner, and he had some sort of angle with which to work with. Bunny hasn't seen much in the way of first team football. He played a game, I believe it was with Matlock Town. There's a bit of pushing here between Osborne and Odesina, and this time the decision goes against and this is a red. Well, Henrik Ravas in the Hartlepool goal is saying he was holding him. They were both holding each other, but I think there's little question that the more guilty man there was Odesina. It was one of those 6 of one, half a dozen of the other type of calls, and then Odesina rather took it beyond that point. Certainly that's how it looked from our perspective up here in the gantry just opposite the Dams and Homes stand, as Odesina is sent off, and well, this could have a major impact on the game. I guess from a Hartlepool perspective, they could almost take something out of the Moors' book here. If you look back to that Moors game against Boreham Wood, the Moors, of course, had Darren Carter sent off very early on in that game and effectively switched to a 4-4-1 instead of playing the kind of box 3-5-2 with the box middle that they love to play. And the thought process for Jimmy Shan in that game was that the Moors would effectively still have enough players behind the ball to ensure that Boreham Wood's opportunities were limited. And that shortly will be the Hartlepool game plan from here. As it is, Gleeson helps out towards Cox. Hartlepool still don't feel like they're fully ready, and the cross comes in, and James Ball was the man closest to it, but there to meet the cross was Ravas. So see what changes with the formation here. Ball rolls through towards Boot off that clearance. Looks as if they've slotted into a rather natural 4-4-1 here. Osborne sees the ball in space, finds Cranston to the left, and now a through ball intended for James Ball. It was just a bit ahead of him and Cass made the clearance. Ball back with Storer as he got the short ball from Gudger. Now Williams across to his central defensive partner. Now here's Cranston. And if Hartlepool's answer to that red card is to play those kind of tactics that we spoke about the Moors playing against Boreham Wood, then the Moors' answer to that is just to keep patient and anticipate that the opportunities will at some point come. They're more than good enough to carve them out, that's for sure. Gudger rather misjudging the bounce of the ball off of that short throw, and it goes all the way back to Pearce in the end. And now Williams. To the right, Cox, and then back Williams' way. And here Ryan Boot calling that the Moors need to switch it quicker. Gleeson running into the space at the moment that's offered to him, then goes back to ball and it's miscontrolled, and there could be a Hartlepool counter on here. They've got enough players forward to make something of their opportunity, but Holohan slips. And that gives the ball back to the Moors. Now James Ball. Cox advanced in a great position down the right, and Osborne, I think, wanted to find him, but he wanted to go past Maglaw first, and then high ball from Williams will go out of play. So I think after the challenge from Jamie Osborne early on, he was up against Crawford that sparked a bit of a fracas, only a small one, but a fracas nonetheless. I think after that, you would have gotten good odds on a red card in this one. Storer doing a good job of winning a physical duel there with Bloomfield, and now Gleeson will get it towards Cranston on the left-hand side. There's space for him to run into. Donaldson retreats and waits for Molyneux to help him out on that flank. The ball is rather wayward, however, for Gleeson. Now here's Cox. Williams racing to his outside to help, but Cox wants to get the cross in himself, and the clearance is high rather than long. Looks like it might have been Crawford that helped nod it away, and now Moors will take the opportunity to set up something down the left-hand side. Cranston can go back to Ball if he wants to. Works it inside to Storer. 1-2 with Ball. Now the low ball in towards Archer is rather scraped away. Looks like that was Cass on the end of that ball at the heart of the defence, and eventually Hartlepool do scramble it clear, but you can see how the red card has just completely changed the game. Hartlepool were enjoying more of the possession, and certainly when the Moors were in possession, they were finding themselves really not necessarily struggling to get out their own half. They did do often enough, but Hartlepool were able to pile players forward and put pressure on. And since the red card, that's really gone the other way. It's been all Moors, but now Holohan with a chance to set up a counter. The ricochet from Pearce could prove helpful, although it's still reach bunny on the left, but that's allowed the Moors to bring some players back at least. Now Featherstone looking for a ball to the inside, and in the way of the ball to Bloomfield was Carl Storer. Now Williams looking for a clearance, looking for the run from Archer, who just about peels away from Maglaw, but Cass there to help, and Maglaw not happy with the way that he felt he was being tripped by Archer. Now Maglaw looks for a long ball towards Molyneux, who the Moors wanted offside against, and they'll get a free kick anyway because Molyneux has tripped Gudger. Ball with Storer off at that free kick. Towards the left with Gleeson. This will presumably come the way of Jordan Cranston. Does. Now back into the middle. Cox is in quite a fair bit of space towards his right-hand side. He does eventually get the ball, but by that time, Bunny has closed it down. And now it goes towards Williams in a rather wayward fashion. Now Pearce to Gleeson and Storer. And Hartlepool doing a good job of just keeping the pressure on the Moors' defence, but that pressure now on the halfway line rather than the edge of the Moors' own penalty area, and a good chip ball through towards Cranston. He's up against Onslow. He needs to find space for a turn, and Cass once again gets in the way of a low cross coming in from the left-hand side, but this time the Moors will get a corner. Wouldn't this be an opportune time to score? Looks like James Ball had to jump over the hoardings there to get the ball to Osborne for the corner. Goodger and Pearce right here are just lined up right towards the back kind of angle of the area. And now here it comes towards Ball, looking for the flick on. That would have been a similar goal to the one against Wrexham in the first home game of the season. It's not quite fully cleared yet. Osborne trying to take on Cass towards the left-hand side. Gets around him, but can't find space against Molyneux. The Moors nonetheless will still have a throw. Cranston, of course, can boom them in from here, and presumably that's what he's going to look to do. Goes back to Ball instead. There were several big men forward. They're going to stay forward here as Cox has the space for a cross if he wants it. And then he goes back to Storer. Now Cox makes a run to the outside, but it's with Gleeson. Now outside left to Ball. Cranston outside, goes that way. Cross is blocked, appeals for a handball, but it'll be a corner anyway. Cranston, short corner to Osborne. Now looking for Gleeson, but Gleeson wasn't expecting it to come his way, and now there could be a chance for a counter for Hartlepool, and they're racing forward. Here is Holohan. Moors not outnumbered, but may have something to deal with nonetheless. Crawford, though, runs into Carl Storer, and there's just no one really in any kind of space for Hartlepool to pick out here. They have to go back across the defence to Cass. And now Molyneux. It's just ahead of Cranston there, but Cranston manages to win the ball as he goes back towards goal side of his man, and the Moors do come away with it. Now here's Storer. Cox screaming for it, and the chip does go his way, but it may just be overhit, and it is indeed. Nice idea, just not quite coming off. Cox always such an ambitious player, it has to be said. And certainly had the space to work with there on that one. If Carl Storer could have found a more ideal ball, but it's absolutely the right idea, no question about that. Cox hasn't quite enjoyed the kind of success that he's had on the ball in recent games, but certainly in terms of the ambition and the willingness to get forward and being able to make space for himself, he's done just as well as ever in that regard, that is for sure. Now here is Gleeson, Storer to the right-hand side. Now Cox is once again in space, well, not as advanced as before, but now he has the chance to run at Bunny if he wants to, and he gets in towards the area, looks for a cross, and that is going to be another corner. This time towards the right-hand side of the drain end. Quite a few goals already around the National League, and we'll keep you up to date with those throughout the second half. But at the moment, Moors looking to turn the man advantage into a goal advantage as Cranston goes for the high ball, and it goes right in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, but it's cleared. Appears as if it was Maglaw there getting that one away. Now Cox floats it back towards, and Archer gets on the end of it, but can't fire at goal, and then doesn't really have the angle that he wanted to get the ball back to Alex Goodger, and there we have half-time. So The Moors with the man advantage, but not with the goal advantage, and certainly the referee not exactly earning Christmas cards from either of the two teams, but I think he would have certainly drawn the ire of the visitors, as Timmy Adesina was sent off for a pullback on Jamie Osborne just towards the end of the first half, as there's a bit of a counter-attack coming for the Moors, and a bit of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other type of incident, a controversial call, I'm sure. Pretty sure that those from a Hartlepool perspective will feel very hard done by that they are down to 10 men. But for the Moors, there's been a chance going against them, as Osborne won the ball in a dangerous area and fired a close range shot that was saved, and then the effort from Holohan coming back off the post, and that's the two opportunities we've had so far here. It's half time here, and it is 0-0 between Solihull Moors and Hartlepool. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back to live coverage here of Solihull Moors versus Hartlepool on Solihull Moors TV in association with Primrose's Kitchen. We are live here, of course, at the SportNation.bet Stadium and ready for second half action. 0-0 between the two teams, but plenty to talk about. Good chances, well, one apiece going the way of the teams. Jamie Osborne being denied at close range by Henrik Ravas after the incident in which he stole the ball away from one of the defenders right on the edge of the 6-yard box, and Ravas did incredibly well to react. Osborne, first of all, doing well to get himself into body position to get the shot off, and then Ravas doing equally well to deny the opening goal for the Moors. And then through Holohan, they went back up the other end and had the effort deflect, well, off of the post as Holohan took on Cameron Cox twice, but couldn't quite find the target. Came as close to doing so as you could do without actually getting the ball in the back of the net. And then, of course, the big talking point of the half coming when Timmy Adesina was sent off for a tug on Osborne. And there was definitely some tugging from Osborne as well, there's no question about that. But from our perspective, it looked like the right call, but I'm sure that there's plenty of you listening and watching, of course, who will disagree. The Moors looking to get on the front foot right away, with Cranston getting a crossing from the left-hand side, but it's straight into the hands of Ravas, who's had himself a pretty good game with what he's had to do so far. Of course, worth noting that the last 6 National League fixtures between these two teams have finished 1-0 to the away side. I'm sure Hartlepool fans would absolutely love that result tonight after the way they will most likely feel things have gone against them. Cox at the moment trying to surge forward down the right, finds Osborne in an advanced area, but there's a good piece of play there off of Ryan Johnson, who is a new man, so there has been a substitution at half time, and we will have a look across the defensive line to see who has made way. Can only assume it is one of the midfielders, because they seem to be playing a 3-man midfield now. Gotcha. Forcing Crawford forward. It's a ball towards Osborne down the right-hand side, and he's looking for a low ball towards the inside. This head away as far as Cox. Turning back, Williams now looking for the ball towards the penalty area, and it's gone beyond Gleeson there. It was a bit too high for anybody who was in the area in a more ideal position. Just looking to see who's gone off. I can't see number 10, Molyneux, so that looks like the man who's gone. Ball coming down the line now on the throw. Just received confirmation that it is indeed Molyneux who's gone off. Throw coming towards Bloomfield. Cranston wins it. Helped forward by Holohan, but there was nobody in an advanced position. So it does appear as if Hartlepool have reverted back to that 3 at the back with the two wing backs, but it's basically a back five, what with the kind of game plan they're going to have to incorporate. For the Moors, they just have to find a way to blow the house down. If they do, you sense that they could run away with it. But they've got to score first, and Hartlepool will absolutely make it hard work. Of course, with all the fixtures, as Osborne is just tripped there. That was a almost Johnson winning the ball there, but not quite able to do so. That was a close call there. Johnson was looking like he was about to come away with it for a second. Now ball on the left-hand side. Inside towards Storer. This is what the Moors have to do. They just have to take what they are given. Trust that the opportunities will arrive. They'll be hoping that one arrives now with this good run by Cranston, looking for a ball towards the inside and a header, and onto the top of the net, the roof of the net there, as Cox looked for the reaction rebound header after it was effectively a shot there from Jordan Cranston. It didn't quite have the kind of power on it. It was one of those almost kind of flighted, half cross, half shot type of deliveries. Cranston, of course, looking for goals in back-to-back games, following his equaliser in the game at Morecambe. Cameron Cox trying to keep the ball in play, and ball had gone out. Seemingly a bit of confusion there as to whose that should have been. Williams now inside to Storer. And here it comes the way of Gudger, as he, I'm sure, will enjoy the invitation to move a bit further forward during the second half and occupy more of that role that he's seen Mitch Hancock's play in his place. And of course, it's a more natural role for Hancock's to play, but Gudger has shown that willingness at times to go and play. It's what he wants to do, there's no question about that. And now Gudger and Cranston just switching roles, but the ball comes out to the right hand side with Williams, and now back with Pearce. Every Moors man bar Ryan Boot in the Hartlepool half. Cox sees the opportunity to make a run forward, but the runner goes with him. And now it's back with Storer. This really does feel similar to the game in which Hartlepool won here a couple of years ago. You can see the Moors almost just playing in kind of semicircles around the 30-35 yard away from Hartlepool areas. Now Cox finds space, but finds his effort blocked. And that was Featherstone back there to help that one behind, but the Moors will take the corner. This one going to be from the right hand side. Cranston will in-swing this in front of the tuck shop end. And now here it comes. Hit away, and the Moors will have a throw in from there. But maybe it will just take a moment of Cameron Cox magic or Jordan Cranston magic. We've seen both wing-backs being able to cut inside and fire off efforts early in this second half. Now Storer just looking for Cox to run into space, and he almost got there, if not for the pressure from Bloomfield there. And now here is Cox once again, and this time he beats the man, but not the challenge from Bunny. Referee wants a talking with Joe Bunny there, whether or not this is going to be for a booking or just a word. Looks like it's just a word. Of course, Bunny at Davy Tom was with Bolton Wanderers last season. Only played in a couple of games as a result of a car crash that left him injured. Hope to see more game time with Hartlepool, and we'll hope to help his side keep this one at 0-0, as this is going to be Osborne getting this one in from the right hand side. Presumably he'll just float this one right in towards the goal mouth, but he's got to try and make sure that it's in a position the goalkeeper can't reach. Tyrone Williams' man furthest forward. It's hit with relative decent power, but ball can't quite get on the end of it. Now Hartlepool will come away with it, with Featherstone furthest forward, but not able to keep that ball from running out of play on the left-hand side. Cranston taking the throw quickly. Storer, looking for options in space, is forced to go across the field to Tyrone Williams, and now Cox has Cranston forward on the opposite side of the field to where you would normally see him, but that ball wayward there, and Hartlepool will have the throw. For anybody that hasn't had the chance to catch up with any scores from elsewhere in the National League, we'll just go through what we have briefly. Of course, perhaps the game of the day, so it looks like there's going to be a change for the Moors, and indeed there is, with Cameron Cox coming off. That's the last we'll see of him. That's a shame, really, given that he was just finding a way to win those more pacey battles towards the right-hand side, getting himself in position to strike there, and now there could be a chance for Hartlepool coming the way of Bloomfield. Can he take on Pierce? He can, and there was a slight trip there. Oh, if Bloomfield had gone down there, he might have had half a case. Would have been a soft one, but the leg was there, no question. Ball back towards Gudger now. The Moors had a fairly solid penalty appeal turned down earlier. Now here's Ward breaking away down the right, looking for a ball in towards Osborne, but it's beyond him, and away by Crawford towards Holohan. Plays it off for Williams, and not only plays it off him, but keeps it in play. It's a great challenge from Ward, recovering back there. Now Storer. Cranston in position to try and take on Donaldson, and will look for the cross, but headed out there by Bunny. Now Gleeson nods it on towards Ward, who's in position to strike, but it's headed away there. That was Johnson, the substitute, that got that one away. Just wondering there if Jamie Osborne may get the chance to take that throw in from the right-hand side. He'd be the favoured option there, but it goes short instead off of Ward, and now Gudger outside left to Cranston once again. Storer just had a moment of space there if he was facing goal, but unfortunately he wasn't. But now here's a chance for Ward to get across it in towards Archer, and it's sliced and should be collected by the goalkeeper, although he's under pressure, and Cranston blocked, and it doesn't fall the way of Kyle Storer. Bunny hacks away, and Pearce could be under a bit of pressure if he doesn't get this header where he wants to, and he's got it away, but only as far as Crawford, and it's 3-on-5 here, and there's a chance here for Holohan to work into some space, but he goes away from goal with his first touch. Now here's Featherstone up against his opposite number, Gleeson. What you don't want to do there is commit the foul, of course, and Jamie Ward was trying to sneak up behind there, and there was almost a heart-in-mouth moment, but it ends up back on the right-hand side, and I think now the Moors have just about recovered enough men behind. Archer putting on the pressure, but Maglaw is able to get it back to his goalkeeper with the help of Cass. Ball going there over Bunny, but then Holohan does get away from Williams, and he's up against Pearce, and he gets around Pearce. Bucher's going to come through and try and make the save, and he does. It's still with the Hartlepool man there. And certainly all the danger has come from Gavin Holohan, and that's twice now he's gotten away down the left-hand side. But now the Moors will try and come right back, although Archer runs into an army of blue shirts, and now Crawford will try and bring it away. And Hartlepool just sensing here that they have a half chance or so, and Bloomfield is surely offside there, and indeed he is. So now we'll go through some of those scores from elsewhere in the National League. Of course, the game of the day for many will be the game between Woking and the Moors' opponents on Saturday, Sutton United. The visitors lead in that one, courtesy of who else? Harry Butin in the penalty in the in stoppage time, deep into stoppage time, as there was a ball low for Cranston. Good through ball there from James Ball, and the Moors win the corner. And as it stands, certainly going top. Moors, I think, might want to take the short corner here. Looks as if Osborne and Cranston were thinking about that, but now it's going to be Osborne. Everybody bar Gleeson towards the penalty area. It's going towards the back post with Goodger, and can Pearce win it there, almost. Helped away by Bloomfield towards Ward, who will strike it with power. Had a few too many blue shirts to get through, and it was blocked in the end, but now Gleeson helps it towards the left. Osborne has Cranston support, but he's going to try and go inside instead and look for the space to find a shot, and it bounces towards Tyrone Williams, goes back the way of Ward now on the right. Inside, Storer. Now Gleeson. Will he take the space for a shot, or will he slot it? He'll slot it to Ball. Can Ball turn and shoot? He gets a flick off of the goalkeeper in the end. And was just tipped into the side netting. I'm not sure it would have been on target. It might have just been coming back off the post, but Ball doing well with not a whole lot of space, and he had to find a turn as well and a shot. I think that was about as good as he could have done from there, James Ball. As now there will be another change. Archer off, Hudlin on. And Hudlin will join Jordan Cranston in, looking to follow up his debut goal with a second goal in back-to-back games. Cranston with an outswinger this time. Headed away at the near post, will come to Gleeson. Looked like there was space just opening up from there, but he goes back to Osborne. Osborne now can go back if he wants, but he's going to try and take on Featherstone and Crawford, and gets to the byline. Will look for a cross. Intercepted with relative ease by Donaldson. Now Featherstone back to Crawford. Ball down the right. Gleeson takes it on his chest. Now Storer. Outside right with Williams. Ward is in space outside right. Storer does eventually go that way. Williams tees it off really well for Ward, and Ward looked to be tripped initially. I wonder if he maybe gone down earlier, with the referee being a bit more convinced. There weren't too many appeals from the Moors, so pretty tough to say that they had any kind of case on that one. Scores elsewhere in the league. Altrincham leading 1-0 at Wrexham. Meanwhile, for Kings Lynn, who have had it tough, but they've found a couple of results here and there of late, but they're currently 4-1 down at home to Bromley. Wilston lead Torquay by a goal to 0, so that's why we have that change at the top of the table, because Sutton winning, Torquay losing, and it gets worse and worse for Yeovil. They trail easily 3-0 at home. Ball just went through to Ravas there, as there was a ball intended for Hudlin that was a through ball low to the inside. Hudlin just not quite able to get there. Unusual to see Ward effectively playing as a right back, but seems to be enjoying the role so far. Now here's Cranston. Goes backwards towards Gleeson, and now here is Ward, and he's got a bit more space to operate in this time. Now Bunny closes him down, but the through ball goes towards Storer, and that's come off of Johnson, it appears, and it has. Referee signalling corner. And it's been taken quickly. Osborne finding Cranston, because Cranston has the space for a shot. He does, and deflected and in. And judging by the celebrations there, it's Christian Pearce who's got the deflection. Well, it was always going to be difficult to break down this 10-man Hartlepool. Of course, it's the first Moors goal against Hartlepool here at the SportNation.bet Stadium, will you believe it or not. Of course, all the previous fixtures between these two teams ending 1-0 to the away side, but Jordan Cranston, finally the Moors just utilising that game plan of taking what comes their way, and there was clear space there for Cranston to strike from distance, and it was turned in by Christian Pearce, who, of course, that's his first National League goal for the Moors. He got a goal, of course, another one of those kind of helpless goals, really, where you just kind of sat there as a goalkeeper and a defence just waiting for it to go in, and there's nothing you can really do about it. I suppose the one against Scunthorpe, a bit different, as he said in the pre-match interview for TV. Pearce said that the Scunthorpe defence just didn't seem to want to go up for the ball, so he jumped above them and nodded it home, and there was no one on the line, so it went in. And that, of course, not the same deal as this one coming off a deflection, but again, as Gleeson makes a great run, and it's gone just beyond him. That was a nice chip ball through to him, and the run was well spotted there. And the Moors now, just, you sense there's just that confidence there for them to turn on the inventiveness, as Pearce does a good job there of guiding that ball away from Gavin Holohan. And now it's back with Ward. Storage is playing across the Gudger on this near side from our perspective here in the gantry. And now Williams. Great chip ball from Ward, gets Osborne away towards the right hand side. It looks like that's Maglaw there just getting in front of him, and indeed it was. Now Hartlepool can try and counter. Kyle Hudlin is going to try and chase Featherstone around for all he's worth. And now here is Hudlin getting the ball back after the Hartlepool clearance comes to nothing, and now here's James Ball with a bit of space to work into. He had a chance to try and slot through to Hudlin there, but waits for the play to develop around him instead, and now the ball is with Storer. That ball perhaps a bit too close to Holohan for Ball's liking, but now he'll take the opportunity to run into space further down the right hand side, but Ward goes backwards on that one. Now Storer will have space to work with, or he'll just play it to Gudger, and Gudger is the man who gets it. Was looking for Osborne, who was forced backwards. Good pressure there by Cass on the Moors' main creative force, and now Storer slides in and wins the ball well, but unfortunately for him it ends up back with another blue shirt, and now here's the space for Donaldson to work with. Gleeson will try and race back with him. Holohan is in support in the area, but Pearce is in the way. Gleeson was particularly angry there. He was shouting towards the army of yellow shirts that were in the penalty area. If anything, that the Moors may be just guilty of over-ambition there as they're looking to try and kill off the game. Jamie Ward, the only Moors man not in the penalty area here. So now it comes in towards the back post, and it was towards Johnson. And Crawford gets it on the back of his head, and now James Ball is going to try and play keepy-uppy. And eventually the Moors do come away with it, and now Ward, because he picked out Hudlin here, he has, and James Ball is on the inside here if Hudlin can find him. And he has not quite, and in the end Ball was offside anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. As it looks like there's another change being lined up, and indeed there is. Jamie Osborne is going to be the man who goes off, and coming onto the field is Callum Maycock. So Maycock, presumably this is a like-for-like substitution. We've seen Maycock play both the defensive and the attacking role in the box central midfield that we've seen the Moors play throughout the season. Maycock's role has tended to trend towards the attacking side of that. But I'd say this is about the two most defensive players in the attacking side of things that we've seen play those roles. Maycock and Ball are effectively box-to-box midfielders. They're not natural attacking midfielders like Osborne and Sabara are. Gleeson just scanning the field and then playing towards Storer, who will do the same in terms of scanning the field. Moors just looks as if almost they're just trying to kill off the game a little bit more here. Maycock has indeed slotted into that forward role. Moors almost kind of inviting pressure. This is a fantastic long ball going towards Ward, and Bunny has won a header, but it's fallen right to the intended target, and now Ward will look for a chip in towards the area. Could reach ball, but it's just about hooked away. Now can Cranston shape up for a shot? He can't because the space is closed down there. Looks like it was Crawford who was helping him. No, it was Cass. Now Williams going for a header and almost guiding it towards Maycock. Now Featherstone helps it away from Maycock. There's good pressure here and a sliding challenge there from Ward, who is going to get penalised for that. Not much contact in the challenge, but I think not the intention, but the aggressiveness behind the challenge is what draws free kick, and I think there can be no complaints about that. Now Crawford. Ball inside to Bloomfield, but Donaldson did not get it come back his way, and even if he had, he may well have been offside. Hard to tell if there was anyone playing in man on the far side. But the Moors almost trying to play possum and invite Hartlepool to press high. Almost saying, play us as if you've got 11 men rather than 10. Can be dangerous, but the spaces will open up in front of the defence, that is for sure, if indeed the Moors are successful in drawing Hartlepool into that trap. And now we're just seeing more of that kind of semicircular play, although it's happening around the halfway line at the moment, as Cranston is the intended target of a through ball down the left flank towards, or from James Ball, excuse me. Result is a Moors throw, and Cranston's going to play it back towards Guthrie. Does have space for a cross here if he wants it, but he's going to go across to Storer. Presumably they're going to try and go across the field here, and now it does end up with Ward, and Ward chips it through towards Hudlin, who has a great first touch. His appeals for a handball there. Did look to bounce into Hudlin's arm, and well, what a bizarre incident. The referee blew the whistle and gave what can only assume to be the handball, but he put his arm out towards the direction of the penalty spot. The referee almost quite literally losing control of the game there. Drama over. The correct decision is given. Not even sure it was entirely the correct decision, but if it was handball, then it was clearly against Carl Hudlin, so there you go. Goodyear will look to play across the left-hand side now with Cranston. And the Moors, once again, will just look to play across the field as much as they can, and now Hudlin with a good ball to the outside with Maycock if he can keep it in, and he has, up against his opposite number Johnson here, finds Williams, who wanted space for a cross, but there up against him was Bunny. Now a chip ball from Ward, who's been quality since he came on. Ball looking to keep it in play up against Maglaw, and Maglaw plays it out. It's going to be a Moors throw right in front of the corner flag on that right-hand side there of the Jerome stand. Or the tuck-shop end, as it is more traditionally known, as Ward is just Well, now he's going to look for a deep throw. Spent a long time assessing his options, and now here it comes. It goes over Hudlin and is half cleared. Now Pearce. Ward in acres of space if the Moors want to go that way, but Hartlepool seem content to let the wing-backs play in that space until the ball comes their way. Cross that bridge when they get to it almost. Ball from Storer, almost wayward. It invites some pressure. Now the Moors will bring it back down the left-hand side once again. Maycock and Hudlin all trying to get themselves into position. Now a bit of a miscue brings ball into play, and Cranston keeps it in, but he's forced to turn away from goal. Goes back to ball. I think the intention from that ball from Cranston was for it to go back to Goodger rather than it reach ball. Now Ward. Williams on the overlap. Maycock available on the inside. It's going to come in towards Hudlin, who I think he might have gotten a flick on that one, and the decision is goal kick in the end. Moors were calling our ball. But you have to say Kyle Hudlin, he's one of those players who is a little bit easy to look at as one of those tall, awkward players that defences simply just don't like playing against. They look at him and they get a little bit intimidated by how tricky he is. But he's a solid runner, has good anticipation of where the ball is going to end up, has the right instinct to peel away from his marker. We've seen him do that on a couple of occasions, and the Moors just haven't quite found the ball going his way, but he has just all the signs of everything that you could want. He's, of course, very young and very inexperienced, particularly coming up the levels as he has. But there's no question that the Moors may have found themselves a potential gem in Kyle Hudlin if he can continue his development. He's certainly made the kind of start that you would have hoped for. The Moors would have just continued controlling the ball in the heart of the field here as Pearce and Cranston and Gleeson just play keep ball with each other. The Moors can almost turn this into, or it feels like that they're trying their best to turn this into that Simpsons episode. Halfback pass to centre, centre holds it. But maybe that's not quite the case here as Johnson tries to pick out a ball towards Bloomfield. Jamie Ward is onside, but that's an error there from Bunny that allowed Maycock to play it outside to Ward. And there was just a bit of space open up there for a moment. Now Ball looking to collect it on the left-hand side. The ball that came his way was a bit wayward, and it allowed Donaldson to win it from him and eventually win the free kick. Now Bunny on the left-hand side will try and bring it through towards Bloomfield. It's a pretty good ball, and he's just about peeled away from Pearce here, and if he can hold it up, he could bring Holohan into play. He did a decent job of that, but in his way was Carl Storer to blast it out for a Hartlepool throw. Back into play, and Storer now pressing a bit higher up the field. Comes towards Donaldson. Now Feverson was just in behind Storer there for a second, but he couldn't quite find Holohan, and now the ball will come in towards Maycock on the right-hand side. Will have to do his best to keep it in play, and can't do so. Throwing is short towards Feverson. The Moors aren't going to try and push the issue this time as it ends up with Ravas. It's well collected in the middle there. Appears to be Holohan who's on that ball, and indeed it is. He's got support to the outside with Garza. That didn't go out of play from our perspective. It was close. Jordan Cranston just shrugs his shoulder. So I think Hartlepool probably have his sympathy to some extent. Not that he'll show it, of course. Moors were trying to set up something quick there, but Ward was forced to play back towards Williams, and now Moors will try and set something up here through Cranston. I think Gudgeon might have wanted to go for the long ball here, and certainly Ball was looking to just peel away from his marker. Looks like there's a Hartlepool change being readied. The Moors, meanwhile, will just try and keep playing keep ball. You suspect that if there was a crowd here at this point, you'd be having those calls of "Olé" as each pass was made. Cranston was just caught in the middle of that little routine. Now the Hartlepool change will be made, and it is Maglaw that's going off, and on will be Claudio Afosu.
Replacing number 39, Joe Fleming, number 16, Claudio Afosu.
So this presumably means a switch to a 4-4-1 of sorts. Moors have taken the quick free kick, and Hudlin could sneak in front of the goalkeeper there, and he did. Couldn't do anything with it, but once again, just catching Hartlepool asleep there. There's been a couple of times where Hartlepool have been slow to react to circumstances unfolding on restarts. Well, I say not reacting. If anything, they're too focused on reacting to whatever injustice that's just happened to them. Too busy doing that to focus on the play. That's the second time they've done that in this game, but they've gotten away with it both times. Now Holohan will look for a ball inside. There's a good run being made there by Bloomfield, but his first touch lets him down, and Cranston comes away with the ball. Now there could be a chance for a counter with Ward's pace and vision across the right side. Gets the ball inside towards Hudlin, who holds off Maglaw well. The ball goes wayward towards the left-hand side, and it is in the end a Hartlepool throw. Featherstone is going to try and guide it back to Donaldson, and now it does go back to the goalkeeper. Moors were trying to press high up the field that time. Storer wins the header. Now Maycott trying to help it forward, and James Ball is going to race onto it. They weren't watching him, and Ball makes it 2-0. Complete ball watching from Maglaw. Kyle Hudlin was offside, James Ball wasn't. Ball saw the opportunity to race onto it, and Hartlepool kept ball watching. James Ball needs no second invitation. That's his second of the season in the National League. Ball actually becomes the joint top scorer in the National League as a result of that. Joe Sabara, Jamie Osborne, Cameron Archer, all with 2. Joe Sabara with 4 in all competitions remains the more top goal scorer at the moment, but James Ball doing an excellent job of occupying that attacking midfield area towards the left side of the what is effectively the attacking midfield duo. Now Hartlepool are going to try and play with a bit more urgency, and the ball nearly does sneak through there towards the striker Bloomfield, who has been a bit of a problem at times, and there he is racing onto one, and now we'll try and fire off a long-range effort, but he has to get around Ball first, and now here's Afosu off to Donaldson and into the hands of a grateful Ryan Boot, as it was a bit too close to him there. Bloomfield couldn't quite make up that much distance to race to the near post in that quick time, but Bloomfield at times has just peeled away from his markers and done a good job of holding the ball in 1 or 2 instances. done a decent job with what little supply has come his way. As now there's a little bit of shoving between Ward and it appears to be Crawford. And there's no cards or anything gun towards coming out there. There is going to be a change, and we were just complimenting Bloomfield. He's now going off, and coming on is Joe Gray, number 12.
Substitution for Hartlepool, replacing number 9, Mason Bloomfield, number 12, Joe Gray.
Moors just looking to sprint forward and put pressure on the defence as the game resumes. Clearly the ball watching for that goal has inspired them to do more of the same, thinking that they can do it all the time now. Now Maycock is going to try and race through against Afosu, shoves off the challenge, and now going to try and play it through towards Hudlin, but just overhit. That's unfortunate there. You were almost hoping that Maycock could go on himself and try and net something of a worldie. He had just a half a yard of space in front of him that Johnson was trying to close down. Now Hartlepool are away on the left-hand side, and this is Afosu, the new man. And gets it through the legs of Williams, and looked like there may have been some hands involved there from Williams, but it would have been soft if it was given. Yeovil have got one back against Eastleigh in the fixture down there at Hewish Park. Torquay have equalised at Wildston. Otherwise, that's about it in terms of the action from the remainder of tonight's games. It looks like Gray is offside there, down the right-hand side. Well, 2 games tomorrow, Dagenham and Redbridge against Notts County and Halifax against Barnet. Several Moors players clearly unhappy with some protests from someone amongst the Hartlepool front line. And now there will be a booking for time wasting shown to Jordan Cranston. Sarcastic comments coming from Donaldson there about waiting until the 86th minute. I think the Moors have done a pretty good job of time wasting in open play, if we're honest, as Maycock gets a nice ball towards ball there, just couldn't quite control it. Now Cranston has the space to shoot, and rather fancying himself after the goal he got at Morecambe, and to be fair to him, the space did open up. He had clear sight at which to aim at, but too high from Jordan Cranston. There's now Ravis. Will clear away. Hartlepool, of course, as we mentioned, were the last team to score here at the... That's a great first touch from the new man, Gray, looking to take on Williams and then find the space for a shot, and it's deflected off the post again. I think it was Alex Gutcher that got the deflection, and it came off the post, and well, Gray making himself a handful already, and Kyle Hudlin now is down, and the play will stop. But certainly Joe Gray making an impact just before Hudlin went down there. Just finding a way to find some space, and the first touch was absolutely superb. There's little question about that. And we were just about to say before then, of course, Hartlepool, the last team to score here at the SportNation.bet Stadium, looking to become the next team to score here. If it's only going to be a consolation, then at least it's some pride for them in a game where they really will feel like they have been hard done by. You could debate the red card as Donaldson finds some space here, but the ball will go just beyond him, and that really is their game in microcosm. As if you look back to the opportunity that Holohan had in the first half, taking on Cameron Cox twice, getting it around Ryan Boot, but off the inside of the post and denied. And then that moment just there with Joe Gray seeing his deflected shot from close range coming off the post as well. And it's moments like that, as well as the second half chance that Holohan had, and also the limited chances that Hartlepool have really afforded to the Moors, that make you realise that there's perhaps just not as much between these two teams as the way the game has gone implies. The red card clearly changed the game. This would be unquestionably a much more even game without it. And I think Hartlepool can at least take pride in that, if nothing else. They've made a tough game of this and come close, very, very close as you can get to 2 goals in incredibly difficult circumstances. Cranston just goes down there off of a challenge from Gray. Continuing protests from the Hartlepool players are that Moors players are going down a bit too easily, but I think that Cranston is always going to go down in that sort of position, and they're always going to give the free kick to the defence there. Cranston now in a bit of space, got Gray approaching from behind, but Ball has the option. I think he was looking to try and play in Hudlin, but he wasn't sure if Hudlin was onside. Now Cranston will go backwards towards Gudger as the Moors. Once again, we talked about the Moors time wasting in open play. Initially it looked like they were going to try and do that sort of thing again, but now Williams has gotten a good ball inside towards Hudlin. Ball in an advanced role here if Maycock can pick him out, but he can't. It's back on the right hand side, but Ward can't find a ball inside, but the ricochet gets it back to him, and he does try and run at players initially. Forced back, however, to Pearce. Now Maycock trying to twist and turn his way from his opposite number, Ryan Johnson. Moors get a throw in the end. As we have 4 added minutes. Throw in comes towards Hudlin, who was in good position here and has kept the ball in play up against Maglaw there. Can't find another yellow shirt. Is that a corner? No. So Bravas will try and get it up towards somebody going up front. Hartlepool don't exactly have the biggest of front men now. They've rather sacrificed the height of Bloomfield. But Gray, if the deflected shot onto the post from earlier is anything to go by, certainly has some technical ability about him. As Afosu plays it back towards Holohan, the Moors just guarding that space. Look at 6 players there just guarding that one area of the field. Making the numbers count, that's for sure. Donaldson turns and finds Featherstone. But even with those 6 men in pretty much a 10-yard area, there's still no real space for Hartlepool to work down the opposite side of the field once they get it there. But now there could be a shot from range, and Boot is forced to make the save, but Afosu can react to it first. But it is wide, and he wants a penalty for a push from Jordan Cranston. I think Cranston may have done just about enough to put him off, but I think Afosu got the effort away before Cranston could get the brunt of his challenge in. And the result in the end is a goal kick. But that again, just another one of those reminders that this game, for all the play that's gone on inside the Hartlepool half since the red card, it's really another sign again that these two sides are just perhaps a bit more closely matched than you might think. But that was a great high ball. I think Maycock might be offside, or is he? The flag does eventually go up. The linesman was waiting to see if it was Maycock or Hudlin was going to get on the end of that one. That's a great long ball coming towards Donaldson. If you can keep it in play, and it's a decent first touch, but Goodger is just about there to meet it. Now ball will hold it up for Gleeson. Now across to Cranston. And even now, the Moors seem to be showing a little bit of ambition, not fully content to just see the game out like they were at 1-0. Now, free kick for Hartlepool as Holohan was brought down. Gleeson helping Holohan back to his feet. I think Hartlepool want to just get this one into the box. Just try and make something happen, even if they are outnumbered. And Featherstone will take the opportunity to do that. And here it comes, and well, the referee's going to ask for it to be brought back. The end result was a header wide. Piers Ryan Johnson was the man there. Jamie Ward just trying to direct the line. I think a bit worried that the Moors had kind of fallen asleep from a defensive standpoint. Now the ball comes into the box again and clearly offside there, headed onto the roof of the net, but offside. Hard to see who that was, but there is the full-time whistle, and the Moors, after going a man up in the first half, after Timmy Odesina was shown his marching orders for that pull on Osborne that from our perspective appeared to be a 6-1, half a dozen the other at first, and then Odesina really giving himself a case that was indefensible. He saw his marching orders, and then the Moors in the second half pushed on. The opener came in quite fortuitous circumstances. Hartlepool had defended fairly well up until the point at which the deflected effort from Jordan Cranston went in off his own man. Christian Pearce got the credit for the goal, his first in the league. And then the second goal, complete ball watching from Maglaw, allowed James Ball to race onto it as Kyle Hudlin, the substitute, was offside, but Ball was not. Ball stole it away and slotted past Henrik Ravas, who, to give him credit, had a decent game, but there was nothing he could do for either goal. Hartlepool coming close, they hit the woodwork twice. Holohan in the first half getting around Cameron Cox and just trying to slot home into the far corner, but denied by the inside of the post and the bounce taking it away and into the hands of Boot. And then late on in the game at 2-0 there was a chance for the substitute Joe Gray, who after an excellent first touch managed to find a bit of space inside, but his shot deflected off of Alex Goodger and onto the post. And the Moors, in the end, were able to run out 2-0 winners here at the SportNation.bet Stadium. So it's 3 points on the board once again. Another clean sheet here at Damson Park. Still no goals conceded here this season here at the SportNation.bet. But for now, from myself, Ben McPhillips, in the commentary area here, it's good night and thank you for joining us here on Solihull Moors TV. We'll see you next time. It's finished here. Solihull Moors 2, Hartlepool United 0.